Good morning to you and welcome to Camnet Breakfast. I'm your host. My name is Precious Mzeya Sakaleji. How was your week? What were you up to? And how does the weekend look as of today? Well, we have had so many things happening during the course of the week. The commencement of the media UN conference, and also the demolition of booths in the streets, not forgetting the recruitment of 30,496 teachers, and also the Shipolopolo making it to the Women World Cup 2023. And also yesterday, the Shipolopolo boys actually beat Senegal 4 goals to 3. So many things that have been happening in the course of the week, and we are hoping that you can come through and tell us what story caught your attention. We've got so many things outlined for you, and our topic of discussion for today is: did the teacher recruitment exercise meet your expectations? Did the teacher recruitment exercise meet your expectations? To come through live and talk to us in the studio, all you need to do is dial the number 0968 675273 0968675273. Before wasting much of your time, let's quickly get into our first conversation of the day, which is Introduction to Burns. That's on our Health Corner with Dr. Masa. I'll join you on the other side. Good morning.
Good morning. My name's Dr. Rafat Basit Masa. I'm coming from Medical Women's Association of Zambia, MWAZ, and I'm going to take you through burns. I'm from the University Teaching Hospital. So I would like to take you through burns because it's one of the most important topics that we face almost every single day. We are always facing a lot of burns, patients with burns. We are losing our patients with a lot of burns. So we want to highlight you about burns, what you need to know about burns, what you need to understand about burns, how we treat burns. We want to discuss everything with you. So burns, what is burns basically? We need to understand what is burns basically. So when it comes to burns takes place when you have like something really hot touching your skin or something really cold touching your skin. For example, if you have hot water pouring on you, it may burn you, yes. If you have hot porridge or hot oil touching your skin, it may also burn you. If you pour acids, if you get electrocuted, all these things are burns, and they are so injurious to health that we end up losing a lot of people every year. Every year we are losing quite a number of people, which we don't want to lose. We can avoid some of these injuries just by getting to know what they are, how to go about them, how to prevent them, and how to stay away from their complications. So when we talk, what are the things that may burn us? Like majority of the times you find that you are cooking, especially when you come from the low income families. You are cooking using braziers, so you find there are children who are walking around, running around. Once you leave that brazier alone with hot water or porridge, something cooking on it, it pours on the child, and actually the child gets burnt, which is so devastating because some of these things can be avoidable. Children are here to have a good life and not to get burned and end up in hospital. Some of them, they lose their lives. Others they actually make it. Others don't make it. This is how it is. So when it comes to burns, we have types of burns that take place. For example, there are 3 types of burns actually which happen. So one is superficial. It's quite superficial. So that happens with hot water, oil, porridge, some of these things, and it only burns the skin. It doesn't go our skin has got multiple layers, but it does not really go penetrate much into the deeper part. It's quite superficial. So that is the first type of a burn. Then the second type of burn that we have, it's a little bit deeper than the first type. So, for example, it gets your skin and a little bit deeper into your skin. So that burn, you'll find that it also occurs with acids, then other corrosive agents, then fire as well. Fire also causes quite deep burns. So these are second type of burns. Then third type of burns are really, really deep, that actually also burn your bones, your other organs. They actually go very deep into your body, and they burn quite a good amount of your body, which is sometimes very, very difficult for us health workers to also handle that burn, especially if it's really, really a great percentage of burns. So some of these things can be avoided by simple precautions. For example, when you're cooking, please make sure that you cook in a place where children are away from that place. Ensure that your children are not nearby so that they are protected from burns. Yourself, when you are doing all these household things, please ensure that you are also protected completely from going into this injurious part. And also in terms of we have noticed also those people who are like mechanics and they deal with cars. You find they open up their radiators without waiting for it to cool down. So we have patients who actually come with like deep burns secondary to that, because make sure that you wait for the radiator to actually cool down, then open up, because majority of the time if you open it up with the way it is hot, you may burn your face, your chest, your neck, and it may be deep burns, which also can be protected. So in burns, we can also have cold burns secondary to really, really frozen part. For example, we have certain diabetic patients that have suffered from what we call nerve disorders. So they have this habit of putting their feet on cold water all the time for hours and hours, because they don't feel that they have put their feet in cold water. But sometimes you find that they put their feet in cold water for hours, 1 hour, 2 hours. Those actually cause they are very harmful to your feet. You may end up burning them because you're overcooling them. You're cooling them and you may end up burning them more. That is also one way of burning, because those people think that by putting their foot on the cold water, they are actually feeling better, but they are actually causing more injury to their health, which is also one type of burn. So please look after yourself when it comes to burns, because every year we are losing out almost more than 10,000 patients approximately countrywide due to burns. Some of these things can be avoidable and some of these things can be protected. So please keep watching our channel and get to learn more and more. The more you watch, the more you learn about our problems that can be actually solved without even coming into our institutes. So please keep watching Camnet, because we'll be bringing you different types of topics, different types of exciting things to talk about, and lots of things that you're going to learn about. Please stay tuned with us and see you tomorrow morning again. My name's Dr. Rafat Basit Masa. I'm coming from Medical Women's Association of Zambia, MWAS, and I'm from University Teaching Hospital. I'm working there as a general surgeon.
Well, welcome back. You're still watching the Camnet Breakfast. We're just having a topic of discussion from Doctor's Corner, and we're talking about introduction of burns. Hope you've learned one or two things. Now, I have something to say concerning that, because during the cold season is when we have high cases of burns, considering the fact that it's very cold and people might want to keep warm. Hence, people rasha kababula, and then before they know it, there's hot water and they've got toddlers in the house. Make sure that you just keep the brazier away from the children. And also, we've heard stories of actually people sleeping with braziers and not waking up the following morning. So there's so many things and so many precautions that you need to take during the cold season. We know it's cold, but just make sure that you wear warm clothes to avoid such incidents. Now, moving on to our second conversation of the day, which is the money market. Let's see as of today how the stock exchange rate looks like. But remember, you can also call through and tell us what your views or your opinions are, or what topic of discussion caught your attention in the course of the week. The current one is the jubilation of actually the teachers being recruited. We saw quite a number of videos on social media where people were checking the newspapers. And I believe that the Times of Zambia and also the Daily Mail newspaper sold quite a number of newspapers yesterday. And also we saw the supply of the newspapers delaying. I think it was around 11 hours when the supply actually started going around the cities, and there was actually an announcement to say no, there was a delay considering how many pages were printed for the names of the teacher recruitment. So they were actually segmented in districts. So if you go around, you see how Northwestern province was divided. There was Solwezi, Kabombo, just to mention a few, and also Zambezi. So in case you haven't actually gotten a chance to check who made it or who didn't, just stick around. The paper has been circulating on social media for those that miss out the names, and I feel that a proper announcement or a proper stick needs to be done concerning the recruitment of teachers for those that are unable to actually get the newspaper and check the names. So right about now, let's quickly get into the money market. So as of today, the United States dollar is buying at 16 kwacha 0.28 ngwe and selling at 16 kwacha 0.16 ngwe. The Great British Pound is buying at 19 kwacha 0.26 ngwe and selling at 19 kwacha 0.64 ngwe. The euro is buying at 16 kwacha 0.39 ngwe and selling at 16 kwacha 0.71 ngwe. And then the South African rand is buying at 95 ngwe and selling at 97 ngwe. That is the money stock exchange rate. Now remember that the number that you're catching us on is 0968-675-273. That's 0968-675-273, or you can get to our Facebook platform, that's Camnet TV. If you haven't liked the page, I don't know what you're waiting for, because that's where you get to have the updates. And also, not forgetting the fun side of Camnet TV, we have a TikTok, what do you call it? TikTok account. Okay, we have a TikTok account now. Just search for Camnet_TV and then you can follow the page. We will definitely follow you back. We've got some fun and also education videos and also informative videos that we've posted out there. And then if you feel there's anything a challenge that you feel the Camnet members of staff should do, well, feel free to tag us on that and we will gladly participate. Not forgetting, don't you forget to follow all our social handles. That's on that's Camnet TV. We're talking of Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and also TikTok. So we're trying to explore the social media platforms. Okay, so now let's quickly get into the stories that caught our attention in the course of the week. Personally, I have quite a number. Okay, one of them is the demolition of the Airtel Money Boats, the teacher recruitment, and also which has been the current talk of the time from different opposition political parties and also different stakeholders and also concerned citizens, which is removing the immunity of President Edgar Lungu, which came in talks concerning when the former First Lady Esther Lungu was actually summoned by the investigative wings concerning the House houses that have been abandoned. Well, she was supposed to be summoned on the 14th, on Tuesday. On Tuesday was actually supposed to be the 12th. So now it was suspended on that particular day concerning because there was this all preparation of the AU Media Conference, and also her being the mother of the nation, the summoning was suspended for that particular day. But anyway, quickly getting into the first story that caught our attention in the course of the week, the story that made headlines is actually when the Republican president of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, or His Excellence Hakainde Hichilema, actually honored 3 former head of state from Liberia, Sierra Leone, and also Nigeria. I was going to mention the names, but trust me, they're quite tongue-twisting. And also that was received with mixed feelings from the opposition. They condemned the honoring, saying there is some personal gain that he wants concerning the same. But also other stakeholders or opposition actually said, no, it's actually within his jurisdiction. So let's take a look at these stories back to back, and we'll be back with the other story on the other side.
President Obasanjo said we caught you by surprise. I wish we had a deeper surprise than the one we gave you today, because you deserve it. You deserve it. You're a good example of us who are in office today. We have a lot to learn. You are a good example. The 3 of you, President Motlanthe, Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, a good example to us. I must include in there former vice presidents, our own former vice presidents. I see 2 of them. Are they 3 yet? 3 of them. The usual 2, and now Vice President Guy Scott. We want to link you to this group, to work with this group, because there's still a lot of work to be done to keep our continent peaceful, secure, so we can focus all our resources, energy, time to the social and economic development agenda, to uplift the lives of our people. That's it. That's the story. So I publicly ask our former Vice President, our President who is watching, former President,
awards and honors. And we know that this committee sits periodically to consider people to be honored. I think at an appropriate time we shall ask for the report from that committee, at what point they commended those honors that we have seen. I am privileged to have been part of that committee for some time, and I know what goes on before people are bestowed with any award. A lot of considerations are taken in place.
The President never breached any constitutional provision in this country. And it is for this reason that before we put an argument, moral or otherwise, it's also good to know what our laws talk about regarding such issues. Article 92 of our Constitution is very clear on the honors. It's the duty and the responsibility of the President, and it doesn't prescribe which type of citizens, which type of people to receive these honors. Above all, some of these people that perhaps are condemning, they have received foreign honors, and which they have cherished, accepted. The issue of that is just friends. I mean, who do you honor? Do you honor your enemies, or do you honor your friends?
Well, there you have it. Now, one of the exciting things, actually, the week has been an amazing week, because we've got so much that has been happening in the country that has put smiles on the Zambian people, not forgetting us hosting the AU Media Conference at Kenneth Kaunda Conference Center just where Mulungushi International Conference Center is. This saw quite a number of cleaning up that was happening in the city, especially the Great East Road, and also the Road Transport and Safety Agency made an announcement to say looking at the flow of traffic during this week while the conference is going on from the 14th up to the 17th, we will see quite a number of the increase in traffic jam. So people were asked to use alternative routes. Now this is what has been going on, and we have seen the commencement of the mid-year AU conference.
The 4th African Union mid-year coordination meeting is underway in Lusaka at the Mulungushi International Conference Center, Kenneth Kaunda Wing. A number of countries and attenders and 12 heads of states are expected to gather here. The 41st ordinary session of the Executive Council has been officially opened, and Zambia's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Stanley Kakubo, emphasized on the need to ensure that the continental body achieves financial independence. Also key among issues was the need to combat the COVID-19 pandemic, achieve peace and stability, among others.
In our economies, there is a need to invest in peace. Therefore, we must act swiftly in silencing the guns on our continent to free Africa of pockets of violence, terrorism, and insurgencies. Chairperson, as we deliberate and approve the allocation of resources in the budget for 2023, it is imperative that we collectively enhance our efforts towards resource mobilization and prudent utilization. We must also strengthen our resolve to curb the illicit financial flows in our continent.
It was also observed that African countries need to improve contributions towards financing the African Union to reduce overdependence on cooperating partners. Meanwhile, African Union Commission Chairperson Musa Faki Muhammad has hailed the Zambian government for taking deliberate measures to successfully host the AU summit. He notes that the meeting comes amid challenges such as the COVID-19 pandemic and conflict between Russia and Ukraine, which has impacted negatively on many African countries. However, he points out that regional integration remains vital to achieving the continent's development and that they continue to identify bottlenecks to fine-tune the process.
Concrete measures in order to ensure that we do something about the dwindling contributions of resources. In fact, if we go in that direction, we will reduce our dependency on our partners, and we obviously want to be as autonomous as we have always aspired. It's not only to mobilize additional resources, but we have to be effective and efficient.
And notably, Senegal holds the presidency of the African Union, and its minister responsible for foreign affairs observed that some countries are facing security challenges that need collective efforts to combat. She also stated that Africa needs to be self-reliant in areas of health, including boosting intra-Africa trade, among others.
We are also going to consider the working documents of the 4th Media Coordination meeting, and of course we'll be considering the 2023 budget of our union. As far as Africa CDC is concerned, it is worth noting that for the past few years, it has remained the most important Pan-African institution, considering the decisive role that it played in combating and preventing and also providing treatment for COVID-19, and also making sure that there is vaccine coverage on the continent.
Hosting an event of such magnitude, such as the African Union Summit, comes with numerous benefits to the host nation. And during the meeting, the minister also appealed to the delegates to explore Zambia's tourism sector. And this comes with benefits to the local economy. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
0968-675-273, 0968-675-273. Now, the 2022 teacher recruitment was targeted at 30,000 teachers, but government recruited 30,496 more teachers, which is an addition of 496 more teachers. We saw how excited the teachers were, those that made it on the list in different provinces, and this is how it was.
Following the announcement of the 30,946 teachers having been recruited by government, hundreds of prospective teachers stormed the Zambia Daily Mail and Times of Zambia Lusaka offices in order to have access to the newspaper. A check at Daily Mail offices revealed that over 18,000 newspapers had been printed against the target of 30,000 copies, flanked by Zambia Daily Mail Acting Director General Smate Smate. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Media and Information, Kennedy Kalunga, visited the offices to help calm the situation.
That today the paper has been delayed, both the Times of Zambia and the Daily Mail. As a ministry, we are here on the ground to come and ensure that what has caused the delay. Maybe we would like to apologize to all the stakeholders, all our clients, that the print paper today has delayed due to the bulkness of the paper. If you see today, the paper is 112 pages. It's 112 pages. So we sincerely apologize for this delay. But we'd like to assure the Zambian people that the paper now is ready. It will be on the street with...
Our target is 30,000 copies, split between Zambia Daily Mail and Times of Zambia, 20,000 copies of Zambia Daily Mail and 10,000 of Times of Zambia. We've printed as at now, those which are available to go, around 18,000, which we'll start distributing. By 15, the entire full set, the target of 30,000 will be ready.
And some of the selected teachers could not hide their joy after checking for their names.
Just happy. I can't say anything. I'm just happy. I've been in society for a long time, but this time around, it has happened. Thank you so much.
How I'm feeling? I can't even explain the way I'm feeling. And I feel like crying at the same time, celebrating. But it's obvious I'll cry afterwards. You know, joy, tears of joy. Bro, I'm there. I'm there. I'm there, bro. I'm there. Thank you, thank you. So I'm very happy.
Meanwhile, the Zambia Education Coalition Executive Director George Hamsunga has challenged government to timely place the recruited on payroll.
As to go to the schools now, if we are to benefit or get the full benefits of recruiting the over 30,000 teachers. So we hope that these teachers will get back to our schools and they will be, put on payroll, and that the school managements in these schools will be able to orient them and be able to support them the necessary tools so that they can start.
And the Zambia National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPEZ, Federation of Free Trade Unions and Center for Policy Direction added their voices.
Be done timely so that there is no distortion. For our brothers and sisters that have not been successful in this application of 30,000 plus teacher employment, can they be patient enough? Can they not despair? The government will bit by bit be absorbing them so that the 60,000 plus teachers that are on the street are eventually absorbed.
People were tired. Let us work and execute our work, and more with promoting the code of ethics for a profession, like of course teaching. Teaching basically deals with accountability. You're supposed to be accountable to what you're doing.
It has been diverted to other programs. In case this is in case this is what has happened, it would be very critical that government gets back to the public and clearly explains in terms of why they're deferring placing the teachers on payroll to 2023.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News in Lusaka.
Well, congratulations to all the teachers that actually made it on the list of the 30,496 teachers that were recruited in the year of 2022. I'm looking forward to see those that were actually recruited and were not on payroll to also be considered during this period. Now, remember, we're still zooming into the headlines, and another story that caught our attention is that of the former Republican President Edgar Lungu to abandon his immunity. Now, this comes in light with the former First Lady actually being summoned by the Drug Enforcement Commission concerning the 15 flats that were built in State Lodge. A lot was said during this period, and also there were some statements that were made by the former Republican president that got mixed emotions from different stakeholders, and we'll play both back to back, and this is how it went.
As they waited for 14 hours before they proceed to the National Assembly and attend to their parliamentary duties, Opposition Patriotic Front members of parliament and youths Tuesday morning gathered at the residence of former Republican President Edgar Lungu's mansion in Lusaka's Ibex Hill area to offer solidarity to the former First Lady who was supposed to appear before the Drug Enforcement Commission. Former First Lady Esther Lungu, who the law enforcement agency Drug Enforcement Commission has been seeking to question over the alleged 15 flats located in State Lodge area, believed to have been corruptly acquired, was expected to appear before the commission. However, DEC Director General Mary Chiwa said the commission postponed the interview to a later date, a situation that forced PF members who had stand up to offer solidarity to Mrs. Lungu drive their way to her premise on account that they needed to ensure that she was safe and in good spirit.
Your members of parliament, Your Excellency, are ready to even lay their lives in defense of the peace that we fought for. It's for that reason, Your Excellency, when DEC informed us that her honor, Madam First Lady was not appearing, we could not believe them. It's difficult to believe what these people say. We thought she was still within the building.
And Mrs. Lungu, who seemed delighted to notice the presence of opposition members, thanked the gathering and, without addressing the issue of the flats, reminded them of God's love.
Remain prayerful so that himself, God, who sees and knows and listens to each and every sound and voice, will indeed come to our rescue. Will intervene in all our situations. We should live a life that is not regrettable, much as we may be grieving for all the treatment that we may be given.
On the other side, former President Lungu said one does not need to be intelligent to know that there is a plot to go after him after authorities finish with his wife, adding that he is ready to answer any charges in an event his immunity is lifted.
You don't have to be very intelligent to know that after her is me. So this is a sequence. You're just peeling the onion. So I'm ready. All I can say is I'm ready. And they talk about immunity. Yes, they can take away the immunity, but I'll be able to answer to whatever charges. So I'm ready. Even if they say, look, I'm hiding behind the immunity, I'm not hiding anything. And even now, they're at liberty to question me and see if I can answer. So don't worry. I know what's going on. The strategy is to make sure that they kill PF. They kill my political life. I'm still politically active, although not in leadership, but I can still give an opinion, I can still influence certain things. So they're worried about that.
The former head of state, who conceded defeat to President Hakainde Hichilema in the 12 August 2021 general elections and pledged to comply with the constitutional provisions of a peaceful transition of power, says he did well to give power to the other guy so that people can see and compare leadership.
A lot of you have said you should have resisted, but I can assure you to do the right thing to do. Rather than they see and compare. We stand head and shoulder above them now. May we check those who are liars. I know that some people lied into power. I'm talking about the United Kingdom. There's a guy called Bojo. Boris Johnson. He lied his way to number 10 Downing Street. Lessons can be drawn. If we cannot keep quiet, and I have already said enough. Lying.
In the next few days, we'll be hosting the Excellency. We thank you so much.
Lying.
Let him answer. Thank you, Excellency. Thank you so much. Chapa, our media, that's all.
Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
This is a picture of former President Edgar Lungu and President Hakainde Hichilema recently taken during the funeral of veteran politician Squatter winner, which made many people think that the rival Patriotic Front PF and the United Party for National Development UPND were finally making peace. This, however, is not the case, as former President Edgar Lungu on Tuesday made accusations against the current administration, stating that they were persecuting the former First Family by investigating the 15 flats in State Lodge area belonging to former First Lady Esther Lungu. The said flats are being investigated by the Drug Enforcement Commission DEC, as the records are said to be missing at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Speaking when PF members of Parliament and other party members gathered to offer solidarity to the First Family at their residence on Tuesday, the former head of state alleged that he is aware that the current administration is after him.
You don't have to be very intelligent to know that after her is me. So this is a sequence. You're just peeling the onion. So I'm ready. All I can say is I'm ready. And they talk about immunity. Yes, they can take away the immunity, but I'll be able to answer to whatever charges. So I'm ready. Even if they say, look, I'm hiding behind the immunity, I'm not hiding anything. And even now, they're at liberty to question me and see them like an answer. So don't worry. I know what's going on. The strategy is to make sure that they kill PF. They kill my political life. I'm still politically active, although not in leadership, but I can still give an opinion, I can still influence certain things.
Responding to the sentiments, UPND Secretary General Batuke Imenda has challenged the former president to produce evidence of the sources of income, alleging that he was known as a poor lawyer before ascending to presidency. Mr. Imenda charges that not even presidential salaries for the last 7 years can amount to the property that the former First Family now has.
Everyone knows Lungu, the poor lawyer. That's what everyone knows. Everyone knows the story that had been reported in the media where President Lungu was accused of having squandered the money belonging to a widow. That is what someone can shamelessly claim to have shamelessly that Lungu was a prominent lawyer when he was living in Chawama in a miserable house. Today the wife can have numerous plots, numerous properties which are very expensive, that are not worth than all the money earned by the husband for the period that he had been in government. 7 years that the husband has been in the government. Add all the salaries, they will not be total to the value of those properties they are talking about.
A number of officials, mainly from the former ruling, have been summoned by investigative wings since the change of government in August 2021 to clear the properties which are suspected to be proceeds of crime. The current administration has been claiming lack of interference in this, stating that investigative wings are conducting an independent job. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
In this country, there are a lot of foreigners who are owning a lot of wealth and they are not being followed. Even these government institutions, they should reconsider the way they approach these issues of investigating citizens once someone has got money. Organizations like DEC, Anti-Corruption Commission, a Zambian will just deposit 50,000 kwacha today in a bank. You are being questioned. 100,000 kwacha, you are being questioned. Who told you that Africans, we must be poor? This is why we brought independence, is to liberate our people politically and economically, so they also begin to make money. They also begin to have wealth. Wealth should not only be seen in a white skin. No. I can take you back to our neighbors in Angola. You've seen what has happened over the death of Santos. Today it is on the news. The Angolan government is engaging a lawyer to mediate between the family of Santos and the Angolan government. Because some of Santos' children have refused to allow government to handle the funeral of Santos because of this issue of being mistreated when you have left office. They are saying, why should he become a darling to the country when now he has died? He now becomes a hero because now he has died. Now you want to give him an honorable funeral. You know, these are the issues we need to be looking out for. Let's have respect and dignity for one another.
0968675273 and 0973167840. 0973167840 are the numbers that you're catching us on if there's any story that caught your attention in the course of the week. Remember, we're still zooming into the headlines on the Camnet Breakfast. Moving on to our next story is that of over 10 families from Mandevu were evicted from the NAPSA flat houses by an Indian. They claim or allege that people from the bailiffs came as bailiffs personnel and they came with notices that they were asked to evict everyone that was in the NAPSA houses. Here's the story.
Over 10 families have been sent in the court in Lusaka's Mandevu constituency after alleged court bailiffs issued them with an order of eviction of the houses they bought from the National Pension Scheme Authority, NAPSA, and National Housing Authority, which they claimed is not legally theirs. The houses, situated in SOS area, are alleged to have been sold off to an Indian national who evicted the families Tuesday, July 2022 with the help of police officers. The affected residents lament to this journalist that they've been legally occupying the houses for over 5 years and explain that the purported new owner claims that the houses were wrongly sold to them by the National Housing Authority and a company identified as MKP.
Forward. Because I am stuck. Where am I going to go? This has been my home for 5 years. We did not get any notice. Nothing, not even we will be here in the next 24 hours. Nothing like that. This is why we are crying for someone to come to our aid. And now, because tomorrow I'll have nowhere to go.
Another resident who opted to be off camera emotionally explains to this reporter that some of the properties were destroyed during the eviction process and had to brave the code with her children.
They plotted, I don't know, it's not fair, it's not nice. People are shaken. People are traumatized. Look at these kids, as you can see. These kids from school yesterday, they found chaos. Already their things were outside. They don't even know where to start from to look for clothes to change. They haven't bathed, they haven't eaten. How is that? You as a black person, you come and evict me, and you go home and sleep, and even come back, and even have the guts and the audacity to come back following day.
And Beatrice Kateshe wonders why they've been directed to evict the houses without an eviction notice.
No notice to give the occupants who are here that there are these challenges, which there was a court order that we should be evicted from this place. That someone has bought this, but they said even if you have the documents, you have to move out because the owner who bought this area wants everyone out. If you want, they even requested us if we can be compensated. I was given 2 weeks. Others have been given 48 hours. Others have been given 24 hours.
You've been given 2 weeks to vacate the house.
2 weeks to vacate the house. Then we start negotiating for compensation. Then if I refuse, they bring me back. If I don't, they give me money.
I also reached to the lawyer representing the alleged Indian buyer whose phone went unanswered, but the site security manager, Gilbert Mateo, expressed ignorance on the matter when reached for a comment.
What is happening? For as long as they tell me to say, don't give access to this one, I'm following that. I don't even know what happened, when it started, what is going on, how it's going to end. For as long as
However, when reached for a comment, NAPSA Public Relations Officer Alice Maplanga indicated that the authority was only going to respond through a press query. Camnet News will follow up the matter to its logical conclusion. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News in Lusaka.
Well, we pray that that situation will be sorted out with the emergency it needs, because as you can see in the video, there are actually kids around those areas, and looking at the current condition, it's quite very cold. Now, moving on to our next story that made headlines during the course of the week is the demolition of the mobile money booths. Now, if you haven't been in town this past week, if you go into town right now, you will feel like you are in a different place, because we've seen the removal of mobile money booths from across Great East Road and also some parts of the country. Others say this is because of the AU conference that is currently happening in Zambia. Others say no, this is beyond what is currently happening in Zambia. And also there's some stories on how those mobile money booths were actually obtained by those operating in them. Well, it has been received with mixed emotions, but this is what has been currently happening concerning that situation.
These youths have been left stranded after the Lusaka City Council embarked on a cleanup exercise on 3rd July 2022, which saw their mobile money booths removed from operating along the Great East Road, owing to the anticipated Africa Union Media Coordinating Meeting slated for July 14th to 17th of 2022 at the Mulungushi International Conference Center. The summit is expected to attract 13 heads of state and 800 foreign delegates. And speaking to Camnet TV, Dominic Motolwa has described this move as unfair, saying that the council did not consider how this would negatively impact their businesses. He says this is his only way of sustaining his livelihood.
But looking at what is happening when the council came to take away our booth, and this is where we depend on. But now, what kind of youth empowerment is this? Because looking at it, a lot of agents or youth rather, they're into this mobile money thing, and I thank MTN and Airtel Money for coming up with this, because it has really helped us this to take care of our relatives and some of our siblings. Right now, some of them, they're even in universities. We are busy paying for them from this little money that we get from these mobile money booths. But now, all of a sudden, they're telling us, no, there are some visitors coming and they are busy collecting their booths. Is this fair, honest speaking, as Zambians? This what?
And others say the council should have exercised lenience and provided them with alternative working places, considering that their businesses are duly registered.
manyumba timalipira mobile money amene so chapezeka kuti batichosera mandenga so na business apa kulibe mushemushe so tenzopembako chekuli vakateka oro vapita monga ivi vamamitingi vakatiganzireko vakaziveko vochita so that naise tikapeze mozitandizira.
They have since called on the government to intervene in the matter, adding that the president has been echoing strong sentiments on the youths being creative. Messi Chanika reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
To many youths, mobile money business is their source of livelihood, as the country's formal sector cannot accommodate everyone. However, the continued demolition of mobile money booths in Lusaka's Central Business District has curtailed many people of their source of livelihood. Some mobile money operators talked to by this journalist had this to say.
Bakan point bafika chape batichose. Ma why batichosera mabuthi not uza? Why batichosera mabuthi na go school? Then I'm going to say my offer. We are not doing anything. Mamena business then but pasa ko bafu ya kunyumba. Dushiteko sponsor mali la kapoya kunyumba na kusetekera tena maenda kunchito azale tako something. But at the end of the day my boots when about pasa na notice to say my boots mzapenda tachosa. Takuomba chape bonse batibera bintu betnasi ya mabuthi banatibera. Mipando zonse kupepeta na mabuthi bonse.
Now what we are doing is we are under risk. There are some people who are watching who can attack us, but we are looking at if we go in the society. Like for example, you have a tattoo pin that you are doing here. When you go there, you are going to spend, some of us, There are a lot of people.
Opposition Patriotic Front Acting President Given Luminda has questioned the sincerity of government in prioritizing the plight of citizens and has since threatened to take legal action.
Vaina marisiti aso aku cancel. Vaina marisiti aku cancel. Va cancel walibe mpamvu zo mutosali. So once aina marisiti aso nifuna mukalete marisiti yaku secretariat ya PF. Nizamu pezerani lawyer akaende ku court. Mwongeza onse mwina marisiti aso mukalete ku council. Onse mwina ma license but wamukwanyirani mabuth, bring them to the PF secretariat.
And United National Independence Party spokesperson Andrew Mwila added his voice.
Government should compensate all the owners of these booths, all the people who've been doing this business. They should compensate them because of loss of business. They've lost the business, they've lost their livelihood. And you know, let's also be very realistic as leaders of this country. You know, even when we talk about private initiative or foreign investment, no, these foreigners come, yes, they invest in our country, they make money, but when you look at...
Meanwhile, Local Government and Rural Development Minister Garin Kombo says the affected mobile money operators will be compensated.
Who's legitimately operating a telephone booth and has been asked to remove in undesignated areas will be indemnified with another. I think that should be an underlying factor, that no one will be left in the cold. Everyone who will present themselves as a legitimate, meaning they are registered with the MTN, Airtel, SLZ, and also registered with the local authority. In this case, Kabwe Municipal Council, Dola City Council, Lusaka City Council, Mazabuka Municipal Council. So part of this exercise is really to harmonize the database between the service providers, the local authority, for the optimization also of revenue collection, and to make sure that...
And Global System for Mobile Communications and Mobile Money Owners Business Association have pledged to work with the ministry to provide order in the city.
So we are just here, we are saying that we are going to work together with the Ministry of Local Government.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Well, welcome back. That itself was received with mixed emotions. Mobile money booth operators came through. Others say that's how they feed their families, that's how they pay for their school. So we're looking forward to see how that situation will be sorted out and also the way forward. Now let's quickly get into our conversation of the day. I'm joined by Mr. Jason Mwanza from the Leadership Movement Party, who is the Information Publicity Secretary. And we just want to tackle a few things that has been happening in the country currently, and also the stories that are trending. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you very much for hosting me.
Yes, let's quickly get into my first conversation will be that of the current situation that's going on, where the former First Lady was summoned by one of the investigative wings, which is the Drug Enforcement Commission, concerning the 15 flats that were built in State Lodge. Now, concerning that, of course, the husband has to come through, which is the former Republican president from the opposition, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, and during his speech, he mentioned to say he has nothing to hide as a former head of state, and if they want, they can remove his immunity and investigations can go on. So let's hear what your what's the word?
My view.
Your view concerning that story.
Well, first of all, I want to note that the obsession between UPND and Patriotic Front is very saddening, and it's a waste of time, especially to the Zambian people. I feel there is, you know, this thing going on where the UPND wants to divert people's attention from real matters that have to do with how best we can move forward as a country in terms of development, in terms of eradicating poverty, and just making sure that, you know, we are moving forward, especially in the crisis that we are in, where, you know, fuel prices are high, food commodities are expensive and all that. So for us to be watching this circus between these two political parties which behave the same is really shameful, and it's a waste of time. When they claim to fight corruption, you discover that majority of the times it just ends, you know, being a waste of time at the end of the day, because they usually go for people without enough evidence. They ride on the emotions of the Zambian people, because apparently, I'm sure there are some people who are excited that, you know, the First Lady was summoned, the former First Lady was summoned. In case she was engaged in corrupt activities, then probably things will be reclaimed. But I guess it will end just the usual way these other, you know, cases have been ending. Just a joke. But what really triggered my attention, but concerning that particular scene, was what the former president actually said. Not really concerning his immunity. The removal of his immunity is actually a good idea so that he can come clean and prove himself. And we've always been advocating for that. There was a time again, you know, when UPND youths started advocating for the removal of the immune on the former president, which is a shame, because we have a president who is the head of state, who is in charge of, you know, governing tools in this nation, and he knows what he's doing. If he wants to remove the immune on the former president, he should pass a motion in parliament, and that is going to be done. But then, you know, we saw that not being done. And so youth started advocating for that, which was, again, a total joke, because we now have a president who is being pushed by youths. But then, what really triggered my attention on that particular scene was what the former president said to Antonio Mwanza, when he said it was the right thing for him to do when he gave up power because he wanted people to do a comparison. That is wrong, and it's a very dangerous statement. First of all, people voted him out. It wasn't a matter of choice for him to give up power. It was the right thing to do. Number two, it just shows a certain plot, probably, that was in the background of him holding on to power. And the people that surrounded him are the people that never meant good for him. The same thing is happening today in the UPND. When you look at the way the UPND are operating, you will actually discover that the people that are advising the president don't mean good for the president. As we even dive in the next story of that has to do with the booths, you will actually discover again that whoever advised for the removal of those booths don't mean good for the UPND government. So that statement was a very dangerous statement, and it retrogresses the process of democracy in this nation. He lost power, he had no any other choice, and there was nothing else to do apart from him giving up power. And lastly, I would, if he is hearing, my advice to him would be, he should be humble. He should be humble. Let's not start, you know, triggering things that are already sleeping. They handled power corruptly. They really backslided Zambia's development, and they did a lot of harm than good to this nation. Therefore, it's just an obvious fact that should he be followed and all those around them, then definitely something bad is going to come up. And we don't want to waste time. And that is why, as Leadership Movement Party, our main focus is how this country can move forward from the wounds. How can we heal from the wounds of the Patriotic Front? But then the UPND are falling in the trap of always focusing, concentrating, and being obsessed with the Patriotic Front.
Okay, I'm happy that you've mentioned, you've brought in how the former ruling Patriotic Front managed to, lack of better terms, mess things up for the Zambian people. One of them that you mentioned is corruption. Okay, you're talking about the former Patriotic Front being in government and being corrupt and messing up quite a number of things. Are you able to point out at least two of the things that you felt they actually messed up, and right now there's some fix that needs to be done?
Yeah, so $7 billion, 7 billion kwacha, COVID-19 money. I'm sure, I don't know if you remember that story, went missing. And you know 7 billion kwacha is not a single note. So that's a lot of money. Definitely, that was corruption. And when the then health minister, Chitalu Chilufya, was in court, he still held on to the title of minister. And that title comes with certain immunities, you see. That is corruption. Again, you know, the expired drugs, quite a number of cases that would go on and on. But then what we should be looking at is the root cause of corruption in this nation. The root cause of corruption is that we are being lenient on the people that engage themselves in corrupt activities. So what happens is that you discover that a regime is in power and you will never hear anything concerning corruption against them. Once they leave power, that is when you start discovering that,
there's some corrupt practices.
Yeah, this one was engaged in a ZESCO deal. This one built land on a property. Didn't they see that? Didn't DEC see that these were corrupt activities? Didn't SEC notice that these are corrupt activities? This shows that something is wrong in this nation.
Let's just hold on to that thought. We have a caller.
Hello.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you, Mama?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you? Who are we talking to and where are you calling us from?
You are talking to Nando from Mukushi.
Okay, how is Mukushi this morning? Is it as cold as Lusaka?
Not really. There's some rays of light coming through.
Ah, okay, sunshine.
Yes, yes.
Please go ahead with your contribution.
Good morning, the leadership movement, Representative there.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, I'm very much interested in the way you're articulating things, but maybe facts should be made straight. The UPND has not concentrated on the fracas of the PF. The PF have tried to divert the attention of the ruling party so that they fail to deliver on the promises they made to the people of Zambia. But what I've noticed is that it's a positive thing. Because already, I will speak today. Teacher recruitment has come to pass. And people are going to various stations where they are going to do a service to the nation. Apart from that, we can say that I don't think the UPND has concentrated on the fracas the PF are doing. If you look at the people responding to those things, those are just cadres and a few members on individual levels, not as a party or as a government, no. UPND is far better than PF. And I don't think there is any government that will come and deliver as the UPND is doing. Let's appreciate where it's necessary. I have seen some clips where even the opposition leaders have given a credit to the UPND. Let us give kudos where it's necessary. So that when we castigate, people take us serious. But if we castigate when it's supposed to appreciate, then people don't take us serious. It's more like a joke. Thank you so much for the contribution.
Thank you for coming through. Remember that if you want to get through to us live in the studio, it's 0968 675 273 or 0973 167 840. So getting on to, do you want to respond to the caller, or maybe we'll continue with the point that you had?
Yes. First of all, I appreciate the caller for coming through. Like I stated, the UPND are falling in the trap that the UPND, that the Patriotic Front are setting up. And so this becomes a diversion. From now, instead of us moving forward, there's now an obsession that is being created between these two political parties. And that is why I don't want to even dive much into that, because my focus is how we can move forward better. Thank you.
Okay, now, don't you think UPND is too big to divert into what's happening in the Patriotic Front and going back and forth with what they're throwing at them, considering the fact that these critics, or maybe this back and forth with the main and the opposition, have actually been going on for the longest time? Don't you think that's normal?
It's not normal.
Because it was happening in PF as well. When PF was in power, UPND used to throw shade.
So these things are predictable. During the UNIP era, people wanted to be liberated from colonial masters. So therefore, the focal point of the operations of the UNIP were, we liberated Zambia from the colonial masters. But then, 1991, people wanted multi-party democracy. So the MMD rode on the fact that there was need for multi-party democracy. And so the focal point, their focus was, we brought multi-party democracy. So even if you tell them, but then there's a lot of corruption going on in your country, they'll tell you, we brought in democracy. So now, down the line, people get tired of MMD, and that's how PF came in. So what did they say? We got rid of MMD. So now we've got a new political party in power. Then the people got tired of cadres and the corruption and all that, and so UPND comes in. So now what's the focal point? We got rid of PF. You see? So that is why majority of the times, exactly. So it's just predictable. Majority of the times, if you tell the UPND to say, oh, there is hunger in the compound, they will tell you, but then we got rid of cadres. You see? So that doesn't provide a concrete solution. What we need to be doing currently is looking at how we can be self-sustainable. How do we totally get rid of corruption? And in the Leadership Movement Party, it's a policy where corruption is going to be treated as defilement, defilement of national assets. So therefore, anyone who is engaged or who is found wanting in corrupt activities, they will spend not less than 37 years of their life in prison, minimum. And corruption cases are not bailable according to our policy. So this thing where somebody will steal 200 million kwacha and then you only find 50 million kwacha and you arrest them and you give them 2 years in jail. Then they have 150 million kwacha waiting for them after 2 years. Then the 2 years in jail becomes bed rest. So they will be in there probably buying meat and whatever and celebrating whilst they are in jail because we are too lenient on these cases. And that is why even if the UPND are fighting corruption or claiming to fight corruption, it will not come to an end. As long as we don't treat corruption for what it is, defilement of national assets. So if UPND really wants to fight corruption, every person who has been mentioned should really be treated as a criminal and like a criminal, and they should not be bailed out, and they should face the law. And we should also see the UPND following after their own people. There were already rumors of fertilizer scandals. It died off. We shall hear about these rumors when a new regime comes in. This is supposed to be a problem.
Start digging out.
Exactly. That shows that SEC, DEC, and all these other corruption fighting institutions are not really independent and they don't have the power. Therefore, we're supposed to empower them, make them independent, and make sure that we set up policies that will send a signal to everybody, to anybody who might want to be engaged in corrupt activities. You will see also how how the DEC try to communicate the message of corruption. They will go in different schools and preach to pupils, telling them about money laundering and all that, but you will never see them going to government institutions, when in the actual sense, the people that engaged in corrupt activities are in those offices. Yet they will follow kids around and tell them about corruption, something that becomes a jargon to them. So we are not really fighting corruption as we should in this nation. So there's an obsession that has been created between Patriotic Front and UPND, and this is very bad because it keeps wasting our time. What UPND should be doing right now is coming to the people and telling them, this is how we are going to revamp the economy. This is what we are going to do in the next 4 years that are remaining in terms of how we're going to create employment, sustainable jobs, and what we are going to do now for the rest of the teachers that have been left out. Unlike, now us hearing about flats, 15 flats for the former First Lady, because she can simply claim she was First Lady for 7 years. So she had enough money for her to build those flats. And what are we going to do? So we would have already wasted time. Because for these inquiries to be done, there is still money that is being spent. What we should be focusing on is us having indabas on the economy, on job creation, so that we have a clear picture and a blueprint, unlike leaving people to start speculating on what's going to happen next.
Oh, okay, great. You have quite interesting opinions concerning that. Now, moving on to one of the current stories that is trending in the country is the recruitment of an addition of 496 teachers, addition to the 30,000, which was a target of the 2022 teacher recruitment. Did the teachers recruitment exercise meet your expectations?
No, and simply because the number of people that have been recruited is nowhere near the number of people that have been left out. I know there are people out there who say you need to give credit, you need to applaud where it is due, but then think about it critically. The reason why I find it difficult for me to really stand with the UPND is simply because they are not really stable. The finance minister said if IMF is not going to give them a bailout loan, they're not going to be able to recruit the teachers. Now we have got a summit that has, that is happening right now.
AU summit.
Then all of a sudden, we've published the names of the teachers that have been picked. I'm not going to be satisfied until I know and understand that these teachers have been posted and they are getting salaries. We've seen a tendency of teachers being employed, and because of their desperation, they get excited and they go. And they tell them, we're going to put you on government payroll after a certain period of time. This is wrong, and this has been going on. We had voluntary teachers in the Patriotic Front, and they've been crying even up to now. They don't get paid. This could still happen in the UPND. Now, the recruitment is budgeted for in the 2022 national budget. And when you look at the way the 2022 budget has worked, it's actually a shackle. Nothing much has been done. Even up to now, people are still talking about CDF. So how do we make sure that these people are going to be paid? Because their salaries are enshrined in the national in the national budget. So how do we know that there is money to pay these teachers? So really, there is quite a number of things that we should notice before we can just simply applaud. Now, what we are looking at as Leadership Movement Party is to create more sustainable jobs and, at least employ 4.5 million Zambian youths. Currently, we have about 5 million youths. So out of those 5 million youths, are we going to be celebrating thousands of jobs created? No, we haven't even reached half of the vision that we have for this nation. So Leadership Movement Party wants to create state farms in each and every district. The major reason why most of employment creation fails is because where we take money from, or the money generating sector, has been neglected. The major reason why governments have failed to employ a lot of youths is because they think development and job creation starts with money. Where are you going to get the salaries to pay these people when you employ them? So like I stated earlier on, there have been people who've been employed on a voluntary basis, who have done teaching. What we want to do as Leadership Movement Party is to employ people on a voluntary basis, 1 year, 6 months in state farms, agriculture, state-owned mines. These are money-making sectors. 1 year, 6 months, the same way we do with the Zambia police. They recruit for 6 months, people are not getting paid, but they are on food stamps. We've just added the year. 1 year, 6 months, youths are going to be employed in state farms. Those are millions of jobs. Number 2, we're going to cultivate. When we cultivate, we're going to sell to our neighboring countries because we're a land-linked country. 8 neighboring countries, we sell to them. A bag of maize, Congo, is probably about 700 kwacha. And in here, we buy it at 180 kwacha. That is why there's a lot of smuggling, because the outside market offers more money. So when we have enough maize to start selling to the outside market, then we're going to have a lot of money coming in this country. We have even dealt with the issue of borrowing, because we will not need to borrow money for us to recruit our own teachers. Currently, they were looking forward to the IMF bailout loan for them to recruit teachers. So now what happens if that money has come and it only covers for this particular year? Where are they going to get more money next year?
We'll get another bailout.
You see, then we will keep on having debt after debt till our children's children curse on our graves for the debt that we would have left them in. So therefore, we want to get rid of this by creating state farms in each and every district, employ millions of youths in those state farms, and in the state-owned mines. ZNS should be owning mines. Our engineers should be constructing our own roads. So there's quite a number of issues in this nation that have to be dealt with, and as long as we are on the same trajectory and voting for the same people, we will be losing out. Let's jump on the wagon that is riding towards development, the Leadership Movement Party.
Okay. Well, that brings us to the end of our conversation.
Already.
Do you have any closing remarks in 30 seconds before I let you go?
Well, yes. I feel, I must say this, and the nation must not be quiet about it. The UPND have betrayed the people. They never saw
4 more years to go.
They never saw anything wrong with, the booth operators. and these are people that are trying to complement the effort of the government by creating employment for themselves. So a government that has failed to create employment for its people should not have the right to steal employment from the people, the employment that they've created for themselves. Leadership Movement Party, we are with the people that are victims of these booths, because the actions of the UPND have got potential to perpetuate crime and indecent activities now, because people might resort to criminal activities, prostitution, and all these other illicit activities which we do not need in this country. So we want to let the country know that it's a policy in the Leadership Movement Party to sustain, uphold, and uplift businesses. We're going to be giving tax breaks and tax holidays to Zambian businesses, see them thrive and uphold them, and make sure that they conquer Africa at a commercial level. So join the Leadership Movement Party today and support Dr. Richard Silumbe for us to reach a sustainable and a self-sustainable Zambia with homegrown solutions. And all these will be matters of the past. The hardships that we're experiencing now are going to be matters of the past in the Leadership Movement Party. Thank you very
30 seconds.
much.
You owe me another 30 seconds. You owe me. You owe me for that extra 30 seconds. Well, thank you for coming through. Well, we're hoping, because we've heard these songs before, we've read these books before, and half the time when our opposition, before they get into power, they sell us these stories and stuff like that. We're hoping that if when you get into power, your agenda doesn't change. But anyway, we're looking forward to see how the agenda for the United Party for National Development unfolds as they continue to be tagged as the new administration, considering them being victorious after the August 2021 general elections. They've been received with mixed emotions from the opposition, different stakeholders, and also the general public. But then we're yet to see how that will unfold. I am looking forward to the agriculture and commercial show. I'm going to paint my face. Yes, I'm not ashamed. I'm not yet an adult. Well, yeah, my mom still calls me child, so I'm still my mother's child. And also, Camnet TV has got something special coming through for you during this agriculture and commercial show. Make sure that your ears are on the ground to hear what packages and awesome rates we have for you. That will be introduced to you during the month of July and also during the agriculture and commercial show. Our marketing team is just putting a certain package in place specifically for you during this agriculture and commercial show. And also, before I go, a huge congratulations to the Chipolopolo for making it to the Women's World Cup, which will be held in Australia next year, which is 2023. And also congratulations to the Chipolopolo for beating Senegal 4 goals to 3. Well, more on the sports updates. Join off the pitch, Amos and the boys on the other side. Well, from me, Precious Nzeya Sakaleji, and my guest for today was Jason Mwanza from the Leadership Movement. And also on behalf of Elijah and Mr. Fred on the other side, we'd love to say thank you for watching the show. Good morning and have a beautiful day.